Equipped with poisonous rhetoric and strategic blockades, they attacked relentlessly. Sure, you would break. However, they were surprised by your tenacity. Every barrier they put in your way was carefully taken down, one by one. Their complex network of harassment came to naught. The battleground they formerly controlled has changed. Their authority has vanished, and their confidence has given way to panic. Instead, then only enduring their strikes, you completely destroyed them. They are in utter astonishment that every barrier they erected has crumbled. This is a master lesson in digital self-defense, not simply a triumph. They are aware that cyberbullying did not succeed. Cyberbullying was a deliberate, planned attack on your identity, reputation, and mental health rather than merely hate speech. It wasn't simply a few irate individuals insulting one another online. No, this was a planned effort that was meant to dissect you from every side. They intended to destroy you so that no one would ever take you seriously again, not just damage you. Before you could defend yourself, they sought to take control of the story. Consequently, they started their digital smear campaign, a persistent and systematic assault aimed at destroying your reputation and turning you into an outcast. They had an army of trolls, flying monkeys, and even employed individuals to spread false information about you. So they weren't alone in this. Some were naive followers who were readily persuaded to assault without considering the facts. Others were paid mercenaries who attacked you for the proper fee while using anonymous accounts. These were agents of chaos, meant to destroy all you had worked so hard to achieve, not simply bullies. And they infiltrate your private conversations, comment sections, and internet areas like a virus. They intended to bombard you and engulf you in so much negativity that you would begin to doubt reality itself, not simply make casual insults. They were desperate, and their methods were filthy. Overnight, fake reviews proliferated online, each one more outrageous than the previous and full of strange charges. All of a sudden, you were seeing untrue statements associated with your name, statements that were deliberately written to incite opposition to you but had nothing to do with you. They weren't content to merely criticize your public persona. No, they intended to encroach on your privacy. They altered screenshots, compromised accounts, and completely misrepresented what you said. They wrote hateful and dishonest anonymous emails in the hopes that someone, anybody, would fall for it and think the worst. Whispering poison into the ears of anybody who would listen. Private messages to your friends, co-workers, and supporters. They were hiding in the shadows. Some posed as worried residents and circulated untrue rumors about you, urging others to avoid you before it was too late. Others were blunter, fabricating drama, and simply lying to make you feel worse. They intended for you to feel alone and isolated. They wanted you to believe that the world was against you, and that all you could see were enemies. It was an assault on your thoughts, feelings, and sense of self, not simply your reputation. They were aware that you would ruin yourself rather than them if they could cause you to doubt yourself. They also hoped that you would develop paranoia, doubting every encounter and wondering who was being poisoned against you. They wanted you to feel as though you were drowning and that the tide was already against you, regardless of what you did. They were relying on fatigue, uncertainty, and terror. They thought that if they could make the weight too much, you would leap to get away from the noise and disappear on your own, so they wouldn't even have to push you from the cliff. They made a mistake here, though, and you saw right through it. You resisted allowing their falsehoods to influence your reality. You demolished their campaign piece by piece, rather than allowing it to swallow you. You learned to weather the storm instead of drowning in their poison. They attempted to isolate you, but it didn't work out. People were aware of the trends and began to wonder why the assaults were occurring. When they saw that this was a pitiful, desperate attempt to kill someone stronger than themselves, rather than a movement for truth, the same individuals they had attempted to enlist started to turn against them. Their fictitious kingdom is now collapsing. Their falsehoods are coming back to haunt them. They are waking up the individuals they believed they had tricked. The bullies who believed they were unstoppable are now scared as the world looks on. This was more than simply cyberbullying. It was a full-scale assault on your soul, intellect, and vitality. They were strategists who planned havoc to deplete you from the inside out, not just hate-mongers who hurled obscenities. Every action they took was deliberate, and every smear was a premeditated blow to your self-control. They wanted you to become confused, self-conscious, and overwhelmed by negativity. They believed that their constant interruptions would shatter you. This was sabotage on all fronts. Their strategies extended beyond offensive remarks. They attempted to get you removed by filing bogus reports against your material. They used automatic tools to silence you by mass-flagged your accounts. Their phony reviews damaged your credibility if you sold goods or rendered services. In order to turn people against you, they fabricate credible lies and propagate stories if you were successful. Then, usually at the worst moments, the faults appeared. Unexpected mistakes, mails going missing, and your material inexplicably reaching fewer people. Is it a coincidence? No. This was a calculated move. Every time you made progress, a digital obstacle arose. Throttled engagement, shadow banning, and enigmatic login problems. It was spiritual and digital warfare. Didn't you feel it too? Fatigue, mental haze, and energy loss following internet use. The abrupt sense of being under assault from all sides, as though negativity were aimed directly at you. It was energy manipulation, not paranoia. Before you ever had a chance to defend yourself, they wanted you to feel alone, overpowered, and exhausted. Subsequently, there came the targeted attacks. They knew just what to say to set you off. They used your weaknesses, distorted your statements, and dug into your background. To mislead and confuse others, they imitated your speech, mannerisms, and even your sentences. Not only was your platform attacked, but your identity was also attacked. But what was their greatest error of judgment? They didn't realize how resilient you were. You adapted rather than crumbled under the strain. You were aware of their strategies and chose not to participate. You ceased responding to the interruptions. By not provoking them, you cut off their energy source. Everything changed at that point. They're terrified now because their whole plan falls apart without your anguish and response. They can sense their authority evaporating, the illusion of it crumbling. The very tricks they performed on your mind, they're stuck in them now. Initially, it appeared as though they were winning. Every obstacle they put in your way and every untruth they deliberately sowed appeared to be taking root. Because they believed the lies they said, people started to turn against you. Feeling invincible, they chuckled, certain that they had permanently inscribed your demise. However, the issue with deceit is that it is never able to withstand inspection. Then the fissures were apparent. The components of their plan started to come apart one by one. The same individuals who had previously disseminated their falsehoods started to inquire. Discrepancies emerged. Their story's flaws became too evident to overlook. The more they promoted their story, the more people began to doubt it. They lost control of the public attitude they had so meticulously shaped. And what was their biggest error? Undervaluing truth's influence. Because you were concentrating on reconstructing your reality while they were busy building an illusion. You didn't waste time proving yourself to those who were already convinced, battling every myth, or debating with every troll. You stayed the course instead. You concentrated on developing yourself. While their falsehoods fell under their own weight, you quietly bolstered yourself. They are now exposed. Those who formerly trusted them without question are beginning to turn away. Their fans are beginning to doubt their intentions. Their reputation, which was so meticulously built via deceit, is disintegrating in real time. What's the best part? There was nothing for you to do. They sense that divine justice is being carried out. They are still imprisoned within their own deceit, even when the barriers they erected around you have fallen. The doors are wide open because they smashed them in your face. The advancement they attempted to obstruct? Unstoppable. The thing that scares them the most is that you were unaffected by whatever they did. All of their strategies, plans, and last-ditch efforts to undermine you were unsuccessful. And now, they have nothing but their own shame as they watch you ascend. Their former followers now recognize them for who they really are. They expose themselves, but their goal was to ruin you. The battleground has also changed. Their time and power is ended. You are the winner. Let us now pause for a minute to celebrate those who have been chosen. Cheers to the people who have a different perspective on the world and the quiet protectors. The alert, watching spirits that never sleep. They wouldn't have it any other way, and they don't fit the mold. And while others follow well-known routes, they create their own, battling invisible foes and shedding light on the dark corners. It's acceptable if it's not for everyone, but you'll know something is for you if you sense it in your soul. Just the truth, no disguises or pretension. This is where the Obsidian Inner Order exists, a place where like-minded people come together to exchange knowledge, bond, and change. A Nova, 450 strong, bound together by purpose rather than uniformity. You know where to find us if you're ready. The description contains the URL. And if not, that's okay too, since we're constantly here, keeping an eye on things and changing things in ways that aren't visible. Cheers to people that follow their own path, because it's who they are, not for attention. Thank you. And here's to you. They had no idea that this day would arrive. They never thought about what would happen if you survived it all, since they were so sure of their power and confident that their attacks would leave you permanently scarred. They're scurrying now, though, and their once brave confidence has given way to complete dread as you keep rising. Their abrupt silence and their frantic attempts to change history are clear indications of this. In the hopes that no one would notice the devastation they attempted to do, some of them are going backwards, removing earlier postings and erasing proof. Some are even going so far as to act as though they had no involvement at all. Suddenly, the same individuals who made fun of your difficulties, now behaving as though they have always been there for you. These days, they communicate carefully and don't bring up the past. They attempt to persuade the world that they were never opposed to you in the first place by gaslighting both themselves and others around them. The problem is that there are receipts. Both the internet and those who witness things happen in real time. Never forget screenshots, communications that have been stored, or old postings. They realize deep down that their efforts to bury the past are in vain. And for them, it becomes worse. They are facing backlash from the very individuals who formerly supported them and encouraged them to propagate hate and falsehoods. Why? Because power is respected, and your tenacity demonstrated that you possess it. Now, their friends are retreating because they don't want to be linked to a losing conflict. And the same humiliation in public that they attempted to instill in you. Now that it's hanging over them, they're nervous, keeping an eye on themselves and wondering if the same smear techniques they employed against you may be used against them in the future. They are aware that they overreach themselves and that retribution is on the way. The aspect they will never acknowledge is that they have no idea how you managed to live. You survived despite all they threw at you, including lies, deceit, manipulation, and digital sabotage. You returned stronger, invincible, and above their reach. You didn't simply survive. And more than anything else, that frightens them. First of all, they are now aware that they never truly had control over you. They anticipated your outburst. They intended for you to get caught up in a never-ending loop of response, continuously protecting yourself from their deceptions, and distorted stories. They wanted you to crumble under the strain and drown in the mayhem they planned. However, you did something unexpected instead. You gave up on their game. They needed your attention to keep them alive when they attacked. Every campaign of smears, insults, and whispers was intended to entice you into a conflict you didn't have to engage in. They wanted you to get so focused on disproving them that you would forget why you were here. However, you did something far more potent than interact. You distanced yourself. You resisted being sidetracked. Each time they put up a barricade, you just walked by it. To cast doubt on you, they marked your posts, reported your accounts, and started rumors. However, you chose to concentrate on what truly mattered: your development, your labor, and your advancement, instead of becoming entangled in their web. You were 10 steps ahead of them while they were wasting their energy attempting to stop you. Your energy was safeguarded. Each and everything they spoke was intended to exhaust you and to burden your thoughts like an unseen weight. They wanted you to be anxious, agitated, and emotionally spent. However, you acquired the skill of maintaining your composure. You denied them the response they so desperately sought, barred the negative, and shut off access. You then made a silent movement. They were keeping an eye on you, following your every step, and waiting for you to make a mistake. However, you gave them nothing to cling to. You were building, and they were chatting. You were preparing your next move as they plotted. You subtly accomplished every objective they believed they had postponed. You were able to go past every door they attempted to close. Furthermore, they are no longer in charge of the story. They propagated all those lies. They failed to adhere. You strengthened the ties that they attempted to break, the reputation they so diligently sought to ruin. It has greater power than before. What really scares them, though, is that you didn't have to destroy them to win. They were constantly playing a losing game, which is why they lost. You worked from strength, purpose, and divine alignment. They worked from fear, jealousy, and hate. They were never truly powerful. Their illusion lasted only as long as you let it to. It fell apart the instant you stopped pouring into it. The balance of power has suddenly changed. As you create your own tale, the same people who attempted to dictate it are looking on in shock. What's the best part? They are unable to stop it. They use defamation, manipulation, cyber warfare, and even spiritual attacks in an attempt to shatter you. They failed to realize, however, that you were never waging this struggle by yourself. And every attempt to sap your energy, every bad word they used against you, and every strategy they employed to obstruct your path, all failed. Because heavenly justice was also operating in the shadows at the same time. Every energy obstruction, curse, and distraction they cast at you has been effectively eliminated. The fear they attempted to instill in you, it is no longer powerful. The muddle they attempted to produce, you can clearly see through it. The seclusion they attempted to impose on you, you have more support, alignment, and connections than ever before. This was spiritual combat, not only a technical conflict. They wanted you exhausted, suspicious, and doubting your mission. However, all changed when the divine intervened. You can no longer be touched by your digital aura. It bounces off you and goes right back to its source whenever someone tries to enter your space, hurl negativity your way, or drag you back into their disarray. Their own karma increases with the number of attacks they attempt. They sense it, too. The same folks who used to make fun of your difficulties are now uncomfortable. They feel that something is changing, but they are unsure of why. For the first time, they're feeling the precise pain they wanted upon you, and the energy they used is coming back to them. And because, in reality, you never had to engage in direct combat with them. You let the powers of God deal with them. You desired alignment, not retribution. Rather than playing their games, you concentrated on uplifting your frequency, fortifying your own soul, and having faith that justice will be served. And it did. Man, you are protected in ways they will never comprehend, according to Proverbs 18:10. The name of the Lord is a fortified tower. The righteous run to it and are safe. You are unaffected by what they attempted to use against you. Before they could even get to you, the weapons they had made were broken. They are now suffering the terrible lesson that you were never meant to be toyed with. Comment: My protection is unbreakable. If you are aware that you are protected from any attacks by divine powers, the struggle is yours. However, success does not equate to complacency. The same individuals who put forth extra effort to ruin you are still looking on. They are awaiting an opportunity, a moment of vulnerability, or any indication that they may still own some degree of control. Your next course of action is straightforward. Remain untouchable. Your digital and spiritual safety will be your first priority from now on. Now that you've witnessed their power, it's time to strengthen your energy, protect your place, and restrict who may access it. Not everyone is worthy of being in the front row of your life. Be careful who you allow into your circle. Cut off toxic relationships, and keep your distance from topics that sap your vitality. When they believed you wouldn't make it, some of the individuals who are now applauding you were the ones who threw stones. Make the appropriate move. Remain strategic and secretive. Being silent is a sign of strength, not weakness. Let them guess what you'll do next. Let them wonder how you managed to win. Their ability to intervene decreases with their level of knowledge. Your objectives? Make sure they are locked. What are your plans? Keep them safe. Boost your online safety. They will attempt to enter your digital realm again, as they have in the past. Make it hard for them to access anything linked to you by changing your passwords, turning on two-factor authentication, and securing your accounts. And keep your spiritual armor on. Energy is equally as important to protection as technology. Through prayer, meditation, or just maintaining pure intentions, continue to purify your surroundings, ground yourself, and maintain your connection to divine direction. Remain in sync. And above all, manifest sensibly. The path ahead is obvious. The barriers they put in your way? Lost. The restrictions they attempted to place on your abilities? Broken. They said you wouldn't make it through the struggle, but now you're stronger, smarter, and invincible. What comes next then? Whatever you choose. Additionally, they are no longer involved in your tale. You're at liberty, free from their manipulation, their games, and their last-ditch efforts to dictate your fate. You triumphed because you refused to fight a conflict beneath you, not because you fought harder than they did. Keep your head up. You are the winner, and you took back what they attempted to take away from you. The energy they attempted to deplete, it is bursting at the seams. The story they attempted to distort? In reality, you rewrote it. Their terror now serves as evidence of your fortitude. They also witness it. They sense it. They are aware of their failure. The thing they didn't anticipate, though, is that you're only getting started. The supernatural has raised you to a plane beyond their reach, where their words, plans, and assaults are meaningless.